Hi, how's it going? Today I'm back with another video. Today I got just Abumatic 150 and I'm going to do a video on how to take it apart. I apologize, the lighting is not great, but hopefully it's going to be of use to somebody. So this is one of the best spin cast reels you can get. It's probably my favorite reel. And we're going to take it apart. It's probably about 40-50 years old. And these are way different than anything else. If you've ever worked on a Zebco or a Johnson or anything, drywall, something like that. Excuse me. These are way different and there's pretty complicated and there's a lot going on inside of these. So I took it apart a couple of days ago just to figure it out, and I'm going to try it again, but this might be a complete failure. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. And you're going to need some tools, voice grips or a wrench, screwdriver, pliers, and reel grease. That's what you should use for reels. You shouldn't use Vaseline or white lithium grease, stuff like that, automotive grease, fishing reel grease, and some fishing reel oil there, and toothbrush or wire brush is probably even better, and a little brush for applying the grease. So let's get started. Excuse me, I have a cold, so I'll try to keep it in check. So the first thing we're going to do is take off the front cover. It just comes off like that. And this reel works really well. It's well made. It has no bearings in it, but it's really smooth. You don't make reels like this anymore, this quality. So take the rotor off, just hold the handle, spin it off like that. Has one pickup pin. I know there's a hole here for two, but some of the bigger models have two. You can easily, if you have parts reel, you can easily add two, but one is perfectly fine. There's your front cover, your rubber line stop, and your pickup pin. This is pretty heavy. This is all hard, chromed or stainless steel. There's no cuts in right here at all, so it's good quality. The spool just comes off. You just clockwise turn, slides off like that. So there's your oscillation plate right here. We'll get back to that in a little while. So now with a flathead screwdriver, you have two side plate screws. There's one. It's probably going to be a pretty long video too. It's a pretty complicated reel and there's a lot of parts to it. So I'll just set these over here. And your side plate comes off and your push button, and there's a little insert that goes in there. So there's your oscillation crosswind block here in your main gear and pinion gear. So the next step is we're going to take off this oscillation block, and there's two little C-clips right here. These are probably the trickiest part to get on and off. So there's one. You don't want to lose these because you have to find a replacement. And the bottom one is trickier. So okay, they're both off. Set these right here. They're pretty small. And now we're going to take off the handle. So here's a flathead. This is also your drag adjustment. Or flathead or a coin works really well too, so I'm just using a coin here. Okay, so that comes off, and you have the large nut. So that's off. And your handle. And this little piece slides out right here. Inside of that you have a tiny washer. So you have two washers and a spring. The spring goes in the middle. It's like a forked end on it. And this cover has a little washer in here, and that usually gets oiled. So we'll move back to the front. So we'll just slide this oscillation plate out. Like that. That's how that looks like. And then this piece right here, there's a little forked piece inside that keeps it steady against the case, and that just unscrews counterclockwise. Now, that looks like that. And usually there's a spot here to put a wrench, but mine was just on hand tight. That's that piece. And your main gear is connected to this. That goes in like that. And here's a pin, your shaft, and there's only one way that goes in. So just set that aside. So here's your crosswind block that comes off the stud. And the rest of this we can just push out like this. So here's the shaft for that. And there's your crosswind stud. There's a little collar that goes on right here. It's in there like that. And there's your main gear. That's brass, really nice main gear, and the teeth are perfect condition. And there's this piece right here. This comes off. That's your drag washer right here. And your other drag washer is here. Now, all that's left now is, I know it's hard to see this because of lighting. This little mechanism here for your anti-reverse. And there's a sleeve inside of it. And that's held on by two little flathead screws. Now, I'm not going to take that off. I could, but I had it off yesterday, and it's sort of a pain in the ass to get these two screws back in, so I'm just going to leave it like it is. So, that wasn't too bad, I guess. So let's put it back together. So the first step would be take this little part right here with the drag washer outside. And that just goes on like that. And I'm going to add some oil. This is fishing reel oil. Just going to add a bit of oil to that shaft. Put that back on the main gear. Like that. Push that in. That's in place now. I'm going to add a little bit more oil over here. And this is all going to be just sitting there until everything is screwed together. So next we'll take this piece, add some oil to that, push that in like so. Actually, before that goes in, this little piece here goes on, this little sleeve. So we'll put that on. And next, put one of these little washers on, and this little spring, and the other washer. Next will be the handle. And this screw, this bolt, or this nut, I mean, sorry. So we tighten that up. You don't need it crazy tight, but and this little end cap right here. So we'll put that on. Like I said, that's your drag as well. So that's all back together, and anti-reverse is working. So that's good. Now, Next, we'll take this main gear right here, add a little bit of oil to that shaft. I usually add oil to the shafts, not grease, if only you get a smoother reel. Now we're going to take this crosswind block, put that on here. Now you usually hold it like this and slide this back in like so, and make sure these two little tabs are on either side of that case here in the right spot. So I'm going to hold that like so. Just when hand tight with that, you don't need to put it crazy tight if you want to get it off again. Now the oscillation guide, oscillation arm goes back in, and that's got to go through the crosswind block. I don't know if you can see that or not, but next, the tricky part is to take these two little C-clips. So you usually take it on little small pliers and just nip it enough like that, and hopefully, you're going to bring this ahead a bit. Okay. Yeah, this is the hardest part here, so it's not terribly hard, but that's one on there. Take the other one, same thing, nip it. Yeah, that one's in place, so now you can tell that that's moving up and down perfectly. Now I'm going to take some grease. I find it easier to grease these gears afterwards because when you're handling them, you're going to get a lot of it off anyway. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this blue fishing reel grease on the gears. Like I said, these are really nice brass gears, and these will last a long time. This is one of those reels that probably last you the rest of your life, and you can pass it on to your kids because there's nothing here that's really going to break. That's on there, and you take your push button and this little sleeve. And I usually put a little bit of grease on that sleeve, and that keeps it in the button. It's sort of easier to button it back on. And you lodge that like so. Take your side plate, and there's a little stud on here that catches in between that hook on the push button, which holds it in. And you're going to line that up. And take your two screws. We'll just take the top one first to get that started. Now, I find it easier to flip it over and get the bottom one because you got to sort of line it up, and it's a bit tricky. So like I said, this reel is not super complicated. All the Abus are pretty much made the same way. So if you did one, you can definitely do the other one. But if you haven't done a reel like this before, it's, like I said, it's way different than any other spin cast out there. It's just a lot of parts, and it's made different than anything else. So, and I find this bottom screw is always an issue getting it lined up. There we go. I think I got it now. Yeah. And there's a few of these different ones Like there's a 170 as well. That's also a level 1, but it's a much bigger and heavier reel. This is not a small reel anyway, but it's more manageable than the bigger ones. I really don't like the huge reel, the 170 as much. It's just too big and heavy. So up here on this pickup pin, you can just add a little bit of grease to that. And we'll probably put a few drops of oil here too, where it moves back and forth. So next is your spool. So you just put it on the big part, 2 openings there, and counterclockwise to lock it in place. And take your front cover, your spinner head, just turn it on. And make sure everything's working good. Push button, pins goes in, reel comes out. Like I said, your drag is right here. And just tighten that all the way, or actually we'll loosen it up a bit. So the way this reel is made is how you adjust your drag, and when you're fishing, if you pull the handle back like that, you're in half drag, and when you turn ahead again, you're back in full drag. So that's a pretty neat feature that a lot of these Abus have. And you just take your front cover and just put it on with the Abumatic 150 logo facing up, and just off to the side a bit, and there's 2 catches there, and you just twist it on. And that's it. So that was pretty, after done it a couple times, second time it was a lot easier, so it's not super complicated, but there is a lot going on there. So if you're not comfortable doing that, I suggest just taking off this side panel here and the spool and stuff, and just blasting the heck out of it with WD-40 and get rid of all the old grease, and it will still, and just put some fresh in there. It will be perfectly fine. So pretty smooth reel for 40, 50-year-old reel that has 0 ball bearings. All metal construction, and it's probably made for like 10-pound line, maybe 12-pound line. I'd say 10 probably, maybe even 8. But yeah, it's like one of the best reels ever made for a spin cast, and you're not going to find anything today that made this kind of quality. Like brass gears, and like, just look how smooth this is, and look how there's no wobble or anything. It's just runs like a clock, really. So anyway, it's all ready to go again, and I'm gonna try it out. Or haven't used this so far this year, but hoping to use it soon. So anyway, that's it for the video. I apologize for the lighting. I know it wasn't the best, but if it can help anyone figure it out how to put it back together or whatever, so it'd be a good thing. So anyway, thanks for watching, and see you next time.